Hello, and welcome to KJ's Kitchen. I am KJ. I am 15 years now, a master level fitness trainer, a fitness nutrition specialist. Most important to me, I'm a happy mom serving up healthy meals from my kitchen to yours every Wednesday here on Facebook on the Get KJ Fit fan page. You can also check me out on Instagram at Get KJ Fit. So today, I want to help you lighten up your backyard barbecue. So I had seen at Aldi's, I love to shop at Aldi's and Trader Joe's. These days with Trader Joe's and under quarantine, it's a long wait. So Aldi has been my go-to store. And I came across a really sounded great wild caught Chipotle salmon burger. So I had to grab them, test drive them, and I'll tell you what, I was not impressed. So I was like, I've never eaten a Chipotle salmon burger, but I got to work in my kitchen, and what I have come up with is going to wow your taste buds, and it's gonna lighten up that grill. Instead of constantly reaching for ground beef, I'll tell you what, ground turkey really doesn't have a lot of flavor. You can grab a very affordable $3.50 can of wild-caught salmon and create some phenomenal burgers. One can of wild-caught salmon can produce 4 very generous sized burgers. If you do not like salmon, you know, my friend Mario, when I saw him yesterday, he said, oh, I just wish I liked salmon. Well, when you taste this burger, because of the lime zest, because of the chipotle, I don't think it tastes like salmon anymore. So I'm going to not only encourage you, but challenge you to try this recipe out. Let's get started. Okay, but you can take some almonds if you want. Have Sissy help you. Thank you. See you soon. We're starting with 1 egg. I cracked it because I don't like slimy fingers. Okay, honey. I don't love slimy fingers. We have no daddy here today, so multitasking. There you go. My son's preparing his own snack. Starting with 1 single egg. I already cracked it. Okay, thanks, kid. All right. Now we're going to do a shallot. Now I prefer shallot over onion, but if you don't buy shallots, these we got from our CSA. So super fresh shallot. How amazing. Came with the stalks and everything. I'm going to use those in my stir fries later. If you do not like shallots, don't buy shallots, you could do half of a sweet onion or yellow onion, whatever you prefer. I've measured it a couple times. 1 small shallot, like 1 good sized shallot like you just saw, or 1/2 small onion is about a 1/3 cup, okay? So 1/3 cup, very finely chopped onion. We're gonna use kosher salt today. It's a little different texture than the fine pink Himalayan sea salt that I have. So we're gonna do 1 teaspoon. I've got Morton, not sure what brand you use. Do you use kosher salt? We're gonna go with kosher salt, 1 teaspoon. Throwing that in, and 1/2 teaspoon, didn't even grab it yet, of ground black pepper. Just good old ground black pepper, 1/2 teaspoon. Now that does produce a little of the heat, but I'm gonna bring the heat in other ways. Check it out. There we go. That's really the easy basics, right? Now the lime, we are not adding lime juice to this because I wanna really keep the burger intact. So I'm not adding a lot of wetness. The 1 egg will help bind. I'm using the zest of 1/2 a lime. So I recommend you keep the lime intact. Don't cut it in half and then try to zest it. When you're zesting, work around 1/2 of it. Makes sense? I'll show you. Doesn't take too long. Get this little zest on here, and I'm just gonna zest this puppy up. I do a few scrapes, check where I landed, turn it, zest it, turn it, zest it, turn it. Oh yeah, easy zesting. If you don't have organic limes, or even if you do have organic limes, you might want to wash your lime in advance with some vegetable cleaner. I get mine at Trader Joe's. I know they sell it kind of everywhere. I like the ones that are El Natural, that are only using things like grapefruit oil and citrus oils to help clean off any pesticides. So you'll see there, go ahead and swipe that in to not lose any of that amazing zest. Now this really brings forward the lime flavor. And the lime flavor, if you know anything about fish, it helps pull away the fishiness. So you see, I just did half the lime, leaving the other half nice and non-zested. So that was 1/2 lime zest. And then I'm gonna suggest you heat up some oil. I'm gonna go to medium high with I have 2 tablespoons of avocado oil in here. You wanna make sure you're using a high temp oil. Now, avocado oil, it actually becomes toxic when it gets too high, so you don't wanna use that for frying. And same with butter, you really don't wanna go there. So I recommend avocado. You could use canola oil if you use canola oil. We mostly use avocado in our home. Or if you're gonna use something you want buttery flavor, you're gonna go for ghee. G-H-E-E, ghee. It is cultured, butter that is really awesome for high temperature frying. Awesome note. Okay, last but not least, we're going for chipotles. How do you make a chipotle salmon burger without chipotles? So these I grabbed at Aldi. Aldi's been like my go-to store during quarantine. These are already in adobo sauce. That's awesome because the sauce itself is awesome and flavorful, and it's gonna bring a lot of flavor to your salmon. Now, once you crack this can, you're not gonna wanna throw the rest of them in the fridge in the can, so I always store mine in a little glass mason so that I've got this in the fridge with my leftover chipotles, and you can make other things with this and they won't go bad so fast. So you can just plan to start incorporating these in awesome dishes throughout the next couple weeks. Now, to slice this, you'll see they're a little stewed looking because they're canned, and they have all the seeds intact. Oh, they smell so amazing. They smell smoky. So I tried the recipe with 1 full pepper, and it was just too hot. I've tried this recipe a few different times before I nailed it. Now, I recommend you chopping it as finely as possible. And it's not that hard to chop. It actually kind of just mutilates and becomes a, chunky paste almost. I'll show it to you. Just going in every direction and giving it a nice chop. I'll show it to you. You see that? It's like so emulsified. It's like just little tiny chunky paste. Okay, so I do suggest, and you're gonna know your heat preference. I'm gonna suggest 2 teaspoons of these finely chopped chipotles. Now, sometimes when I grab one, it almost creates just about 2 teaspoons. But other times I've tried to see how much is in there, it produced a tablespoon. That teaspoon really made a difference in heat. So it's not a packed teaspoon. It's, this isn't, a powder. So it's not as easy to eyeball there, but I did squeeze in a couple strays. So this actual pepper that I grabbed was small enough. It produced 2 teaspoons. You know your heat factor. If you don't love hot, if you don't love that afterburn in your mouth, I suggest you trying 1 teaspoon first round. If you're like, oh, I could have used a little more chipotle, then the next time you use this recipe, because I promise you will, it is so delicious, you would go for 2 teaspoons. My family, we like it hot. So last but not least, before I add in the salmon, I'm going to be using 3 tablespoons, again, heat factor, you might go down to 2 tablespoons of Chipotle mayo. I made this in the Vitamix with a 1/2 cup. You can see that it is around a 1/2 cup already. I suggest you using a liquid measurement when measuring your mayo because it makes a difference. When I used a dry measuring, it was not enough liquid, like not enough mayo, and the flavor profile changed. So a 1/2 cup in a liquid measuring cup of mayonnaise, 1/2 lime squeeze, that's 1 tablespoon of lime juice, half teaspoon of salt. I use pink Himalayan, half teaspoon of pepper, and you're going to rock out 2 teaspoons again of chipotle peppers. So when you just even taste this alone, and granted we're gonna use it to top the burger too, it is super zippy with the lime and a very nice heat. A really good, like, kind of draws the flavor forward of the heat. I'm putting in 2 or 3 tablespoons of this into the actual mix that I have. So here's my little tablespoon. Again, it's kind of thick, so this one looked a little roundish. Now I say 2 or 3. That's gonna be on your flavor profile. Because those were rounded, I'm just gonna do 2 because I know there's a little extra in there. You're gonna get you a spoon and just start to stir this up. Getting that egg beaten. I mean, I'm just using a good old spoon you would use for soup. Right now your pan's starting to get nice and hot. Good thing, because we're almost done. Here we go. See, this kind of looks absolutely non-appetizing. I'm not even gonna tell you what this looks like. I'm sure you can come up with your own idea of what that looks like. Promise you, once it's all done, it looks and tastes amazing. There we go, get her all mixed up. So this is all one uniform flavor here. We're not gonna have any bites of this burger going to have like extra punch, because I just distributed that so well. I don't know about you. I know my mom, when she uses this canned salmon, she just strains it, dumps it, uses it. I get a little eked out that they have little spinal vertebra in it. So I actually put it in a bowl. As I'm scooping it out, I see the little vertebra and I take them out. If I see any giant lumps of skin, which I know you can eat all of this, including the little vertebra, I even remove the skin. This can that I use is 14.7 ounces. Well, weighing it after you strain the liquid, if you choose to use fresh salmon, which I really don't suggest, because it seems blasphemous to chop up, puree up, chunk up fresh amazing salmon steak. To me, I'm like, oh, at least use the frozen, or, you know, I really suggest canned because this is already chunked up, and why not? It doesn't feel like it takes away from the beauty of this can. It actually improves its beauty and flavor. So I do suggest this. If you're using fresh or some other form of can that's not already this 14.75, you're looking for 11 ounces of salmon. I'm dropping that puppy in. Boop. And what you want to do is give it enough of a stir to break up a lot of that salmon, because it does come in pretty decent sized chunks. And it's easy to break up, just like, you know, tuna in a can is easy to break up. But you don't want to take a bite and have this like dry piece of salmon that doesn't have much flavoring on it because you didn't kind of beat it up enough. So I just use the back of a spoon and press against the wall of the bowl and kind of break it up a little. No harm if you stir it too much, because unlike beef, if you overwork your beef, it's gonna get tough. Your salmon is not gonna toughen up. It's just distributing the flavor the more you get it in a shredded like form. That looks pretty decent. Last but not least, we need a binding agent. I am a very big advocate on being mindful of gut health. So I choose gluten-free breadcrumbs. They're mostly made with brown rice. What do we got? Rice flour. That's all it is. Rice flour with a little raisin juice and honey and salt. Okay, so not even a ton of sugar, 0 sugars, even with that flavorness. You know, bread usually has sugar in it, but this is 0 sugars. And they're decent. They remind me of panko. I do think panko produces a gluten-free. This one's 4C crumbs. I think I grabbed that at Ingles or Publix or something. You're gonna rack out 1/2 cup. I think I have a 1/2 cup. I don't. I have a quarter here, so I'm gonna double up my quarter. Whew, almost lost it. 1 2/4 is a 1/2 cup. And you're stirring. My pan is getting nice and hot, I can tell. Getting a little smoke action. I'm gonna keep it, I heated the pan at medium high with the oil in it, because I'm keeping the heat at medium high. Stirring this up, it dries it up a bit. Fantastic. so that it will form very easily into patties. Now, you do not need to freeze these or anything because the texture and moisture is just fine as is. Okay. Hey, look, I hear little footsteps coming. Kids are coming. So here you see the texture. You okay, bud? Hearing coughing. I think he's going potty. We've been potty training and he's just doing it on his own now. Okay, so I'm just gonna, what I like to do is I press it down to make it really easy to see how to perfectly turn this into 4 patties. Everything's smooth, one layer, one level. Cool. I grab my spoon and I cut a line down the center, and I do it the other direction, and boom. I'm gonna have 4 equal salmon burgers right here. You could throw these potentially on the grill. I actually haven't tried. So here I am showing you on the pan. When forming these, they're very easy to work with. They stay nice and solid. And I make it bun size for sure. You could be throwing this on lettuce and omitting the bun. You could throw it on top of a salad if you wanted. They are so good. I'm just gonna distribute my oil all around. Hear the sizzle. Okay, I move quickly with the patties just so that they're all on the pan in a similar amount of time. I don't want one getting overcooked. Make sure your pan is centered on the heat too, because I know with pans, sometimes one side does get a little bit hotter than the other. They cook uneven. It's annoying that this little cast iron, and I know cast irons are not cheap, there's like a little warp in the very center of mine where the oil doesn't sit. So I don't know if it was just poor making. Sorry, Pioneer Woman. Or if that's intentional to have like a dry center. I actually don't think that that's smart or intentional. So, you know, after I used it, I didn't even think to, you know, take it back and say, this pan's warped. So I just modify. Sometimes I pick up the pan and drop the oil around. There we go. Ooh, this last one seems a little large, probably because things fell off the other burgers. Here we go. Once everything's on the pan, I'm going to say, Echo, set timer, 3.5 minutes.
3 minutes and 30 seconds, starting now.
All right, so she's my timer. Love her. He might seem a little big, this guy, but he's beautiful. Big and beautiful. I don't judge my salmon burgers. So I thought, you know, 2 really good sized ones, 2 somewhat smaller ones. Well, so if you have little mouths in the house, it all works out, right? Otherwise, you're gonna have to fight for who gets the big ones. I'm assuming the man in the family would take the bigger one. So, still on medium high, I'm going for 3.5 minutes on each side. You may use your judgment and go a little longer, maybe even up to 4, max 4.5 minutes. We don't want to overcook these and over dry the center. I've tried them at different temperatures and different lengths. Even if you get a crispier outside, it doesn't change that the burger itself is nice and easy to bite through. I mean, you're talking about, think of like tuna salad or fish in general. It's very light and easy to bite through. I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna build my bun and recommend a couple toppings for your bun as well. I'm just gonna rinse this hand. Hang on. Don't go anywhere. Stay with me. Okay. Could not keep going with a hand of salmon. There we go. Now you know, if you find a gluten-free bun, rock on. I find that gluten-free buns kind of taste terrible. We don't have any gluten allergies in the house. We just look out to not over gluten our gut because it will start ripping through and we don't want IBS here in life. So when I'm gonna bun for real, I'm going to go for some good stuff. I really recommend brioche buns if you're not familiar with them. These are Aldi's. They're made in France. They're such a very light, airy, really good flavor. I don't know how it really compares. Sweet and Hawaiian buns are good because that sweet factor, but this doesn't bring on as sweet of a sweet factor as a sweet Hawaiian. So I really recommend something really delicious. And if you've been subscribing to KJ's Kitchen, I also taught you how to make your own buns. that are absolutely grain-free and close to like 1 or 2 net carbs total. So if you are on a low carb diet, I can make sure you get that recipe. Just comment below that you need that recipe. I'll get your email and you'll have that recipe for some, 2 net carbs per bun, grain-free buns, which also very light texture would be great for these salmon burgers. But if you're gonna go for a real bun, go for a yummy one. Let me get that out on a plate. I had a hard time getting on live on time, as I often do, because my son was throwing a fit, and I was like, please don't throw a fit the whole time. So you're gonna be using the Chipotle mayo. If you don't like heat, you might choose just the top bun to have the Chipotle mayo on. I don't mind the heat, so I'm gonna rock out, get a little spatula. I'm gonna rock out the mayo on both sides of my bun for this afternoon. Get that going there. You could toast your bun. That might be delicious as well. Get this guy on. I'm just painting it on. If you echo, stop. Time to flip our burgers. If you don't love mayo, I have plenty of friends who do not do mayo. I have a recipe out there as well for a mayo substitute. You could create your own mayo with Greek yogurt and then use that as your half cup instead of mayonnaise. And again, raise of hands, a little PM or a chime in the comments if you need a good mayo substitute made of Greek yogurt. I can also get that recipe to you. Love to share my recipes with anyone who's interested. We're gonna flip these burgers. I'm gonna use my little baby flipper from Pampered Chef. All my Pampered Chef people out there. I love this little flipper. I think I'm gonna get another one. They sell it also in black.
What's this delicious smell?
Ooh, this delicious smell, our salmon burgers. Do they look beautiful?
They smell good.
They do smell good. So good.
Mother,
Just gonna give you a little peek at how brown these got. They look nice, right? Okay, so now we're gonna go on this side and echo. Set timer, 3.5 minutes.
3 minutes and 30 seconds. Starting now.
Okay, so we got 3.5 minutes before I get to taste this puppy for you. I did not pre-make a burger this morning to taste, so we're doing it in real time. But I will brag on my mom's bread and butter pickles. So Heather Woodruff, if you're watching, I know you love these. Mario and Brandon, I know you love these. And here's the deal, my husband does not like pickles at all. Like not a dill pickle, not a sweet pickle, not a pickle at all. He loves, can I say it again? He loves my mom's bread and butter pickles. I actually should share the recipe sometime in my kitchen, especially that it's summer and it's pickling time, right? So maybe we could pickle together on another segment. I made these last summer, and the flavor at first I was like, oh, I hope I did everything right, and popped them open and they taste just as perfect as mom's. So I do recommend a bread and butter pickle if you don't make your own or want to pickle with me sometime here soon. They do sell them in the store, bread and butter pickles. They're like a sweet pickle that have some peppers and onions in it. That sweet and pickly flavor is such a nice addition to the salmon burger. So we're almost done here. I feel like I could do a little tap dance for you. We got 2 minutes. Woohoo! 2 minutes before our salmon's done. So what you could be doing now is chopping a nice fresh slaw for the side. I'm not bringing you a side today. I'm only bringing you the burger. And you could be toasting buns. You could be drinking a glass of wine. You know, I surely would be doing that if it were dinner time. And I do recommend either a rosé or a white wine when you are dining with fish, for any of you wine drinkers, or people who just like to know what pairs better with fish. There are certain reds out there that pair nicely with fish. Me personally, I like a white or a rosé with my fish, much more than a red. I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get a fork and pull out some of my pickles even, so that I can pull those out when this salmon burger is done. Yeah, I guess we're just hanging out and waiting another minute and 15 seconds, which is not a problem. let's talk about your salmon. When you are getting it, I do suggest wild caught. I do suggest if you are into a fish mood, I really am super encourage people to live a more plant-based diet and possibly a pescatarian diet. Does not mean you eat fish every day. You might be seeking plant-based proteins, a lot of legumes. If you're going to do soy at all, it would not be tofu. You would go for tempeh, which is fermented soy. That is the only way soy is healthy for you. And then you're also going to look for proteins such as avocado and walnuts and a lot of variety of nuts to have some good protein in them. If you are living mostly a plant-based pescatarian lifestyle, because you do not want to eat fish every day. Even when it is wild caught, we have completely contaminated our oceans, which is so sad. Hopefully during this quarantine, a lot of the world is healing, and I hope that our oceans are healing just as much as the sky, because we can see the cities have clear skies again, which is like mind-boggling and beautiful. Echo, stop. It's time to eat. Okay, so I'm just going to, for now, push my pan off the heat. Whoop. Get myself a little burger over here. Whoop. Show it to you. Let me see which side is even more beautiful here. Wow. So beautiful. Before I stack on my pickles, I just want to show you that nice crisped side, right? With my Chipotle mayo here. Top it off with your bread and butter pickles. And I like to distribute them across. Of course, if this were all for presentation's sake, I'd leave them in a pretty pile in the center and let people, distribute them as they would, just so that it's pretty and you can see more of the salmon. But I'm a practical kind of girl. So I distribute my pickles right on top. Close her up. Ooh, 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 ooh. I'm gonna get a bite of this. Hang on. Two hands for sure. Let's hope I don't make a big old mess on the floor. Do you see this puppy? This is substantial. Now, when my husband ate one of these, one's enough. It's very filling, still has an incredible amount of protein. More importantly, an incredible amount of healthy fats for a very well-fed brain. The better your brain is fed, the happier you are. So you're welcome. Not only better on your waistline and your digestion, but better on your brain health. Okay, got it. This is gonna be so hot, I'm sure. It just came off the pan. Again, it doesn't get super firm the way a well-done hamburger would. This texture is more like a medium rare burger. So it's got some give in the center. You can see it's still cooked through. So delicious. The bun is airy and it kind of melts around it. So if you've never experienced a brioche bun, highly suggested with this salmon burger. Bread and butter pickles. I think it really complements it. It's a little sweet and crunchy on top of this really heated mouthful. If you don't love as much Chipotle, you're going to lessen how much mayo you use on your bun. Maybe you eliminate it altogether. You would still maybe put it in the burger. If you have kids wanting to eat this burger, just use the Chipotle mayo, eliminate the actual chopped Chipotle to bring the heat down in the actual burger. So if this recipe served you, if you want to get this recipe in your inbox, I will be posting a link below. Whoop, I lost connection. You will get this recipe in your inbox. Share this to your wall. Other people are seeking really delicious barbecue recipes for the grill because we are all grilling this week, this whole summer, I'm sure. Whether that be at campsites, backyards, or with very small groups of friends, because we're of this lockdown and quarantine we're experiencing. What a good way to lighten up the grill. If you want to tag a friend, that would be helpful as well. Spread the word. My gift to you is to just bring healthy lifestyle, realistic meals with a little facelift to your family from mine. Have an awesome Wellness Wednesday. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next week.